Hey, what's up, guys? How y'all doing today? Welcome to season 4, episode 4 of Kardashians on Hulu. Now, before y'all start digging in, listen, I was on vacation. I'm back. We about to get things popping, and we're gonna get them popping on time moving forward. Okay? Y'all have patience with me. I'm a work in progress. Anyway, let's get into this, right? Listen, this episode is blown up in Kris Jenner and Khloe's face, especially with the news on Tristan. Oh, you don't know about that? Well, either watch a video on Jordan Craig saying that Tristan is for real. We thought he was a deadbeat and just wasn't seeing Prince. He hasn't paid child support in over a year. But y'all, listen, we'll talk about that. Let's start off with the most boring part of the episode. And again, here's the thing. The Kardashians can be boring in a funny train wreck way. Kim is just boring. I guess that's her worst nightmare. She is now the least interesting to look at because we got Kylie and Kendall and Kourtney serving looks. Actually, Khloe too. At the end of the day, Khloe downplays herself, but she always eats Kim up with posing, with dancing, with looks. But also, she got the most boring storyline. She goes over to Kylie's house saying, she's the new Kylie. Yeah, we know you're trying to do the rebrand for Kylie Jenner. She's the new Kylie, you know, not the old Kylie. She's the old Kylie, like Tumblr Kylie. Like, you mean the Kylie that was pretending to be the babysitter so she could steal Black China's then fiance Tyga? That Kylie? I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same. They have, of course, they got to have their little weirdo thing where they're like, hey, let's play patty cake. You playing 40? Really? When did you ever play for patty cake? Then they're like, come on, let's do it. Like Scissor Sisters, like threesome. And then Kim does her Kris Jenner laugh. And I'm like, this is gross and unnecessary. But the whole thing was to open up about how much she missed Kourtney and how much she wanted Kourtney to experience that with her. Baby, I am not convinced you are sorry at all. You want Kourtney to experience it with you so you can rub it in your face. You're not slick, Kim. You are not slick. Okay, so then they're sitting there and they're having this weird scene where they're just smiling at each other because they love each other, because that's what sisters do. They just smile lovingly at each other, not saying anything. So Stormi jumps in with her cute self, right? And Kim's like, oh my God, like, did you know that if you have glitter on the bottom of your feet, the tooth fairy will come? And then Kim shows her foot, and she was like, they're sitting on Kylie's cream couch, by the way. And Kim was like, is there anything on the bottom of my feet? No glitter? Oh. And then Kylie's like, you have black stuff on your feet. And Kim was like, oh my God, I do. And then the camera cuts away from Kim and you see her like trying to put socks on the bottom of her feet. Kylie was like, you are not doing the Dave Chappelle, Rick James, feet all over my couch stuff. I just thought that was so funny. I do. Kim, where you been walking? Now you got enough maids, nannies, money, and everything else to make sure you can pay someone to lick your floors clean. Why the bottom of your feet got black stuff on them? Anyway, hold on. Let's move on. So then the real reason for this scene comes up. Kim starts telling Kylie that she's taken Saint and his friends to a soccer game, London, Arsenal, private box. Kylie's not even listening to her. Kylie's literally looking at Stormi, trying to watch her. I will say one thing. Kylie is a very involved parent with Stormi. Oh my God, did you hear? Well, you know what? I want to talk about this, but some girl that claims to be Kim's nanny has been posting stuff about how the kids are horrible. I don't believe that. The kids seem like cute kids. Kim just honestly seems like she's super, super busy and she lets the nanny raise them, which is fine. I mean, that's what a lot of rich people do. And Kim is trying to make the jump to elite wealth. Anyway, Kylie's also trying to give Kim fashion tips and being like, obviously, right? I don't know. This whole thing about them being so close. I mean, I know they love each other, but they don't seem like they talk on a regular basis. So Kim keeps bragging about yeah, it's Arsenal, soccer, private booth. It's going to be in Paris. And Kylie is looking so bored oh, fun. And she's like, yeah, Kendall's going to be there. It's going to be legendary. And Kylie is like, in her confessionals, I am not a sports girl. But that's another thing, Kim. I know that Kim is a clout chaser at heart. She is. There's nothing wrong with that, but she is a clout chaser, which lets me believe that all her friendships and everybody that she's cool with, it's all strategic social climbing, right? Kylie was kind of born into this. She doesn't, and the thing is, I can see why Kim is so jealous of Kylie. Kylie doesn't have the baggage that Kim does. Yeah, she's a Kardashian. Yeah, she leads with sexuality, but Kylie got a beautiful body. Kylie got a beautiful face. I know. Just listen, right? Kylie appears more natural, even though she is surgically altered, but she gets it. She's more stylish. She's more outgoing. She can dance. She's 20 years younger, and she don't got a tape. But she got all the fame and the Kardashian media machine. So Kylie has seen things and been invited to things that Kim has not seen or been invited to because of her age, but also because Kim was married to Kanye. And, it's just a whole age thing. Anyway, Kim is so disappointed that Kylie is not fawning over what Kim gets happiness out of life. Okay. Anyway, then Kim makes some really odd comments because Kylie's like, I'm not into sports. And Kim's like, oh my God, I am. I'm a total boy mom now. I mean, I love my daughters, but they steal your clothes. They have an attitude. And I'm like, can Kim get along with any women that are not subservient to her or licking her boots like Khloe? Now you got a problem with your girls. North isn't even old enough to fit into your clothes. Kim might actually be skinnier than North. And Chicago is too short. Like, girl, shut up. Anyway, Kim, you're not slick. We know what you're doing. You need to get a big fish. And what better way to have excuse of going to a game and, more importantly, going backstage or off field, whatever you call it, to the locker room. I'm not a sports person either. To meet these athletes than you being like, oh my God, my son's a big fan. Kim, you're not slick. The only problem is you're also not smart because it's not working. Let's move on. Oh, by the way, Kylie's dragging Kim about her house saying, yeah, I'm not a minimalist. You have one couch in your living room and your house echoes. The only thing with Kim's style, I will say, is it's so inauthentic, right? Because even Kanye's moved away from the minimalism. It's just so inauthentic because basically Kanye convinced you this was stylish and now you're going to hold on to it to your 80 because you don't have anybody new to glom on. Let's continue. Okay, can I just say, in between the scenes, they always play music. And can I just say, I don't know how much Hulu paid them, but they need to literally at least go to Spotify and get some copyright-free music. The Kardashians has the worst music I've ever seen in my life. But maybe they paid all the budget for using Beyonce's We Got for the Night, Flashing Lights. Maybe that's where all the money went to. So anyway, the scene opens up after the horrible thing with Kris, Khloe, and Scott. They bought Scott in to juice things up, but Scott is giving fresh out of rehab vibes. He's giving I would rather be home, sleep. He is giving I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I will say one thing. Kourtney really is the embodiment of if you like it, you should have put a ring on it. That man literally thought he was going to have Kourtney crying after him, being cheated on, taking whatever crumbs he threw, and just happy to have his love for the rest of life. And when she literally found a man that truly loved her and leveled up, he really hasn't been the same since. But you know what? It's not just Kourtney, y'all. She's the embodiment of you gonna miss me when I'm gone. Anyway, they're like, so are you seeing anybody? And Scott's like, oh God, no. Scott, shut up. Every 19 through 23-year-old that's that Mr. Nice Guy and funky and whatever knows who you are. Shut up, Scott. You just haven't found anybody to replace Kourtney, and you are heartbroken because Kourtney for a long time was letting you have your cake and eat it too, right? Anyway, now Travis had your little croissant. So Scott's like, my kids aren't enough. I'm super lonely. And Khloe's like, my kids are enough. Khloe, shut up when Tristan is sitting next to you every night. Just shut up. Let's move on. So then Khloe was like, Kris is like, oh, me too. That's all I need is my children. And Khloe's like, Mom, calm down. You've never been alone. You've never been alone since you came out of grandma's vajayjay. Ugh, she's so gross. She's never been alone. So calm down. And Kris is looking like, all right, Missy. And we're going to talk about the beef that Khloe has with Kris. Because, I know we all got one friend like Khloe. Hold on, we're going to get to it. So then Kris is like, what are you looking for? So he turns to Khloe and he goes, how tall are you? And Khloe literally lights up. She's trying to act like, oh my God, Scott, stop. You're being weird. But she has a smile that won't leave her face. Khloe is still that little girl, so starved for affection, so starved to be called pretty, so starved to be seen, that even the father of her sisters, of her nieces and nephews, and her sister's old lover, flirting with her, brings joy to her face. So then Kris is like, I think Scott has a crush on Khloe. Yeah, remember when you were encouraging Rob Kardashian Jr. to have a crush on Kim? I do, right? And she was, I know, weird. So this ain't nothing. Kris is like, oh, this is light work. Y'all not even related by blood. Let's get this thing popping, right? And she's like, listen, but I think Scott has a crush on Khloe, but everybody has a crush on Khloe. The cameraman has a crush on Khloe. I have a crush on Khloe. Shut up, Kris. Ain't nobody checking for Khloe. Khloe don't even got a crush on Khloe. Let's continue. So then Scott's saying, no, I really want somebody like Khloe. She's funny. She's kind. She's sweet. She's caring. She's cute. Notice? Yeah, we know Scott by the way you're always commenting on her body and her tatas and Instagram. Oof. And the sad thing is, Scott, I wouldn't put it past Scott to really be laying on the charm of Khloe because he's trying to get under Kourtney's skin. Meanwhile, Kourtney is like, don't care, moving on. So then Scott says why he wants somebody like Khloe. He wants, truth be told, Scott wants a Tristan Thompson experience. He said, I need somebody that just who won't give up on me, that will hang in with me through my highs and lows. Aw, really? And again, the smile goes away from Khloe's face because you realize, yeah, Khloe, he's just using you probably to make Kourtney jealous at worst. And at best, he sees you as a doormat and he wants somebody that will put up with everything that he gives them and still not leave the side. Kind of like what you're doing with Tristan. But you see Kourtney cut the cord and now she's loved up. So then Penelope comes in the scene. She is growing up to be such a sweet young lady. I remember when she was a baby. It's crazy. Kourtney's kids seem so happy and so well adjusted. Actually, all the Kardashian kids do. But here's the thing. Penelope reads her daddy down, talking about, you are 40 years old. What you mean you want somebody in your 20s? 19, you're gross. And she's like, you are 40. She can be pretty. She needs to be somebody nice. And she needs to be somebody that goes to the gym because, baby, you need to go to the gym. And Scott's just sitting there being read down. Funny, right? How, I'm not going to get into it, but funny how Khloe won't come over and let her kids go over to Scott's house. To Kourtney's house. But it's okay for Scott with the car flipped and all this other stuff. Bunch of hypocrites. Okay, so then Kim takes us to her private jet, Kim Air, and she calls it the Soccer Mom Tour. I call it the desperate need a man to hold my hand because my brand is crumbling and I feel old and washed out without a man. Again, I'm not an ageist. If you do not want a man, that is your business. But Kim desperately wants a man. And low key, like I always say, her brand is tied to a man. You cannot be what society tells you the perfect woman is, a patriarchy princess, to the point of you are chopping and screwing your face, cutting up your body. Side note, in all the confessionals, Kim is really starting to give Isma from the Emperor New Groove look. She needs to stop with the plastic surgery. Stop it. It doesn't I feel sad also because as much as she's like, oh, I'm fierce, it shows something that's going on outside. And again, I don't want to comment on somebody's face, but what's going on in her mind and her heart is being reflected by how she is chopping and screwing up her face and body. And it is disconcerting to me. It's disconcerting to me. It's like watching an insane person walk around hurting themselves. Stop it. You're upsetting me. Anyway, right? She's showing them filming. And a lot of people come down on the Kardashians for flaunting their wealth and flashing the wealth. But you know what just occurred to me? They don't have a choice. See, everything we see them do, down from the clothes they wear, their hair, their makeup, even the cost of this trip, the hotel, everything. When she rented out a private island for her birthday, they have to post it. Because when they post it, it is a tax write-off. And they got a lot of money that needs to be written off. So they're flaunting it. But they're still, even though they're millionaires in a weird thing, and I think this is what gets on Kim's nerves, why she is having trouble making the jump. Just hear me out, right? They're flaunting it. Okay. But they need to because they still need the tax write-offs. They got money, but they don't got the money that Kim wants to have. They got money for us, but they don't have the money that Kim wants to have. Kim's trying to make a jump into wealthy, elite circles. Not like, oh, I bought out Fendi, Gucci, Prada. Not some Erica J. No, like elite Jeff Bezos circles. The only problem is she still looks tacky to them. Because at the end of the day, even though she has more money, it's just like, oh my God, you're riding off a private jet and you're making all this money. To the people she wants to actually be friends with, it looks so tacky because it's like, you're so poor. You have to write this off. You just can't do this privately. And the thing is, Kim can't do it privately. You can't rent out the island for your friends privately. You can't do this. You can't do that. Again, nothing wrong with it, but Kim wants to be on another level. I see why she's so angry. And I see why she wanted to step away from the show, because what you have to show on the Kardashians is not conducive to the social crowd you're trying to break into. So anyway, right? They're on the plane. The soccer lover Kim doesn't even know what the pitch is called, right? And she's telling stories of her childhood. And I'm like, how many stories are there about Kim? She's talking about my best friend. Her mom and my mom are best friends. And her dad's the manager of the Eagles. Again, I know what some people are saying, oh, they grew up in a rich town. No. They grew up with a big house because Bruce Jenner had a little money. But Kris Jenner was super serious about the fact that they were pretty much broke, living paycheck to paycheck. Some week she didn't even have money to buy tomatoes from farmer's market. It's interesting the way all of Kim's friends that she really put work into and spent time with, and they're still friends, they are all rich and powerful. Does Kim have one middle-class friend? Does Kim have one regular friend? And please don't say, oh, that's where she grew up. She had middle-class boyfriends. She hung out in middle-class parties. Why doesn't she have any middle-class friends? Again, social climbing at its finest. Anyway, they said that they went on tour with the Eagles when Kim was a teenager. You know Kris Jenner was like, get in there. You know what's so funny? You know those reports that Kim has a Manny? I see his Manny. He's an actual good-looking either Black or Afro-Latino man. Knowing Kim, she probably demanded that he's mixed. But again, you should have yourself reflected in the people around you, so you have a role model that is you that you can look up to. But I see that Manny. Kanye don't care. So then Khloe and Kris go to the matchmaking, and they're interviewing dates for a Scott. There's this one girl that comes in, and she's like, Khloe's like, oh, hi, giving a fake smile. She's like, I run a lingerie lingerie company with my sister. I'm super family oriented. I'm Persian Jewish. And they're like, oh, that's great. Being Jewish is important. So then Kris is like, oh my God, maybe you should date Rob. And the girl starts laughing. I'm like, girl, Kris is testing you to see if you'll spread like mustard. Now, this girl seems perfectly nice. But again, Kris has seen some things. Kris has done some things. So has Khloe. So you know the Kardashians are always going to be suspicious. But you know another thing, at the end of the day, they don't like outside women. They prefer, in my opinion, Rob and Scott to be single. Seriously. Rob better get on some my brother, my lover mess with Khloe, because that's the only time you're going to have a woman that they're really going to embrace. Anyway, the girl was so giggly, so fun, right? Really excited. They're like, oh my God, she's so cute. I love her energy. Baby, I can read Calabasas fake-ish. Y'all ain't like her. Let's move on. Anyway, they all come in. None of them are Scott's type. None of them Scott's gonna date. They all seem really pretty, really nice. One, they're too old. Two, they just don't look like Scott's type. Let's just say that. Like, no. Scott is looking for a party girl that is wild, probably nasty, and just like will put up with all his stuff. All these girls seem like they have their stuff together. It ain't gonna work. Anyway, they're on their way to the game, right? And they're just like, oh my God, like these guys are single, Kim. And Kim's like, no, I need somebody really age appropriate. And her best friend was like, yeah, after her last experience. And Kim looks like, right? So here's the funny thing about Kim. I guess she reads every story about her. Remember that story that came out that none of the Kardashians were invited to the Met, right? Kim's like, And this is Kim just BSing. Because Kim, girl, shut up. We all know your thirst bucket stuff is that. She's like, I wasn't going to go. You, Kim Kardashian, who has not skipped a Met since the day you were there and make a whole big thing. You, Miss Fame Horse Central, was not going to go to the Met. Kim, shut your dumb self up. She said, I wasn't going to go. But there's a story that came out last week, like, oh my God, the Kardashians weren't invited to the Met. So there's something in me that makes me feel like, oh no, I'm going to go to prove you guys wrong. Kim, we all knew. The only way that Kim is leaving the Met is if Ann Wintour literally circulates her picture to all security and has her on site. She can't come in. Kim, shut up. This girl is Kim is so full of it. Who is she fooling? Even all her friends are bored while she's talking, looking out the window. So then she said, but it's also a thing that I'm going to go because forever I was Kanye's plus one. And now, and all her friends, this is another thing. She talks about these are lifers. These are my friends for life. How close are you guys? Because half the people are in the car looking at her like they can't stand her or she is just so vapid. But it might be the fact that they actually know the real Kim and they know this is all smoke and mirrors. So they're just looking at her like, all right, is this scene done? So the Met is offering that Nazi sympathizer offspring, Karl Lagerfeld. Look him up and look up his family. Again, that's why it always cracked me up that Kim, shut up. You hang around Ivanka Trump. You're cool with the Trump. You go on right wing. Kim, listen. Kim is more like Caitlyn Jenner than we think. Even the people you endorse for mayor of Los Angeles, and you don't even live in Los Angeles. I think it was Rick Caruso. Anyway, she's like, but I have this idea. And I'm like, oh God, it's going to be stupid. And I was right. The idea is that she's going to bring someone or at least something to the Met. And I'm like, something? What are you talking about? And she's like, I had this idea that I want to bring Karl Lagerfeld's cat. First of all, Karl Lagerfeld loved that cat more than all of humanity. The fact that you referred to it as a thing, right? As a thing, okay, no, you cannot have my cat. But then on top of that, she's like, so I'm going to meet her and I hope she likes me. And that's what let me think Kim just has no boundaries. And Karl Lagerfeld be rolling over in his grave, but good. I love that for him. But anybody that actually has cats and loves animals know that cats actually don't like being taken out of. They're not dogs at all. The way you can a dog would be like, oh, yay, but they'll still miss their owner. Cats are very territorial. They don't like being uprooted out of their element. If you take them to a new place or an apartment, they will hide for weeks until they actually feel comfortable and whatnot. The fact that she showed a picture of Chopette on Kim's private jet talking about happy birthday, yeah, somebody gave her kitty volume. But something, Kitty Xanax. But something tells me that whoever was entrusted to care for Chopette, probably when Chopette's gone, they get all the stuff. And they're just like, yes, Kim, of course you can take her. Let's move on. So anyway, Saint, they go to the stadium. They have these VIP boxes. And Saint, and Kim's like, yeah, look at this. Because Kim, again, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just the way she is. Kim is just all about the look of things, how much she can brag about it. Saint is actually a soccer fan, and he's like, we're too far away from the field. Why are we all the way up here? And she was like, no, stop, Saint. These are the best seats. And he's like, okay. So then he's like, where's my jersey? And she left his soccer jersey at home. And that's what let me know, Kim, this trip was not about Saint. I get the fact of your normal 9 to 5. Oh my God, I forgot because you're a busy mom, this and that. Saint has nannies. Saint has this. Saint has that. This is Saint's trip he's been dreaming about. How did you leave the soccer jersey at home? I'll tell you how. This trip wasn't for Saint. This trip was for you to get out there, for you to go backstage and talk to the soccer players. That's what this trip is about. Saint, you got to come along because you are the cover story. But the fact that with all your nannies and all this and all Saint, the jersey wasn't packed. Okay. All right. So then Kim tells this really weird story about how she would love a partner to tap out, but that's not it right now. And okay, yeah, like you're single, maybe you'll remarry, whatever. Saint is running down to the VIP box, kind of screaming at her, Mbappe, and they can't hear him, right? Saint is so frustrated. He just wants to be closer to the field because he's there just for the game. And Kim tells this really odd story about, I'm sure you guys heard about it. I made a video clowning her about I wanted a Manny and I was so shocked that, I thought Kanye would flip out, but I was so shocked because I was like, he was like, hey, I know you're going to be taking care of my son. This is what I like, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, oh, okay. And I'm like, why does she keep, but then it occurred to me, Kim realized her fatal error. See, here's the thing. Kim was with Pete Davidson and losing her MF mind over that dirty everything, head to toe, back and forth, right? And she actually was getting off on everybody hating Kanye, and, in my opinion, and falling from grace. And Pete loves to play the victim. So it was just like, leave my man alone. And he kept saying the reason he didn't come around is because Kanye, but when Kanye was gone, he still ain't come around. So clearly, Kim, it was because of you, right? But that's when I realized Kim realized she made a fatal error by painting Kanye as this crazed wild man and Kim playing the victim. What other men saw from the outside, because Kim's always like, I want somebody to protect me, was like, I don't want these problems. You yourself are saying this man is a madman. Why would I want to come for all this stuff? So even though she spent the better part of a year and a half painting him some crazy deranged person, even though he was eating dinner at her house 3 days a week, right? And painting him as the next OJ that will ruin someone. Now she's trying to do an image rehab that, no, Kanye will respect the person I'm with, because everybody in that tax bracket that she wants to give, it's like, I don't want these problems that you come with. I already got to deal with you. I got to deal with the fame. I got to deal with your mama. I got to deal with the social climbing. And I got to deal with someone that you yourself have said is out your mind. Yeah, Kate. That was Kate. Yeah, Kim. Roll that back. Roll that back. A little bit too little, too late. So anyway, the kids are leaving and they're like, okay, guys, good job. It was such a good game. And you hear Saint screaming, we lost. And she's like, it was such a good game, but we lost. Girl, that Kardashian kiss, that Kardashian curse, is that why nobody will hold your hand in public? Anyway, Kim's like, it doesn't matter. She is practically salivating and licking her lips because they're about to go into the locker room and meet all those players. So anyway, that one girl goes out with Scott, the first girl that's like Persian Jewish, right? That they're like, oh, you kind of look like us, right? I don't know anybody want to marry into that family, but I guess, right? Scott owns a lot of property in Hidden Hills. He's super, super secure. Anyway, Chris is like, so how'd the date go? And they're showing recaps of Scott's date. And he's like, she's really optimistic. And the whole time, again, Scott likes wild party girls and he likes to trauma bond. He's asking her like, are you always as happy? She's like, yeah. He's like, you're super tight with your family. Like, have you ever lost anybody close you love? Like, he's looking for any trauma bond he can make. And the girl's like, no, I'm fine. Y'all, this is actually a little funny. He was like, have you had any trauma? He even asked, do you go to therapy for anything? Like, have you ever lost anyone you care about? She's like, yeah, my grandparents, but they were like 100 when they passed away. And he's like, oh my God, y'all, Scott needs to stay by himself. Literally, he laughs out loud and says, so nothing bad's ever happened to you in life? What type of first date questions are these? Anyway, at the end of the day, they're like, yeah, that's just not. Scott's like, I can't. She seems really nice. And he's like, but I feel like I want you as like my life coach, not a girlfriend. Yeah, Scott, it's not as easy to replace Kourtney as you like. And as much as you stay in Khloe's face, it's still not working. Anyway, let's keep going to Kim and her adventures in London. Anyway, Kim's sitting here telling us how amazing her life is. And I get it with Kourtney saying it's always about these BS things. Because if your life was really that amazing, you wouldn't be telling us that. Anyway, she said the Spice Girls sent her a book, Sporty Spice, saying, hey, we need a posh. Will you be our posh? I'm sorry, can Kim sing, dance, move? And she's like, it was probably a joke, but still, girl, it's good. It's good that, yeah, okay, let's move on. So anyway, one of the soccer players that the boys are big fans of called Kim on FaceTime. And I was like, how Kim get it? But you know what? It's giving Forrest Gump. It's giving your mama loves you a lot. It's giving those vibes, but you know what? Let's move on. Anyway, Kim then goes to a pub. The pictures were over everywhere. It was such a fake scene. So this girl comes up, she's drunk. She's like, oh my God, are you Kim Kardashian? There's nothing but cameras around. She's like, yeah, I am. She's like, do you do law? Kim's like, I do, right? You do not, Kim. You're not licensed anywhere. You cannot practice law at all. It's actually illegal, Kim. And she's like, oh, me too. I just qualified, which means this girl's actually going to law school. And Kim is doing what? An internship at a law office. And it looks like she's pretty much abandoned. She looks like she's abandoned her attempts at law. She's gone super, super quiet. But I think that's because like she can't get past the bar. You know, the LSAT you passed in COVID times, and it was administered by the law office that was in. So they were the ones that like let you take the test and make sure there was no cheating or no this or no that. Now that you're taking the bar, you can't take the bar privately. And Kim seems to be having a little bit of trouble passing. I'll leave that right there. Here's the thing. Kim said it's super awesome to be recognized by a fellow law student. Why does Kim lie so much? Why can't she just say, because of my privilege and who I am and my schedule, I don't have to go to law school. I don't have to go through the trouble you guys do. I don't have to go through the mental torture. Law school is mental torture. I see anybody that's been through law school, or if you are dating somebody in law school, if they haven't broken up with you yet, or more importantly, if you haven't broken up with them, what you're doing is something to be proud of and brag about. But Kim doesn't want that. Kim wants I did it on my own. I went through law school while being a sex symbol, while being an entrepreneur, while being a single mom. Kim, stop lying. You're not in law school. And for those of you guys being like, oh my God, it's the same thing. It is not the same thing. The apprentice program is way easier, and it was made for people of privilege that didn't want to take the hard way around. Kim didn't even graduate college. And that's not to say she has to, right? A case can be made that maybe college and law, like, do we really need formalized education? But since this is only something her money and privilege bought her, and since people actually had to struggle through college and work their butts off and get accepted and take the LSAT and get accepted into law school, why is you propping yourself up having to do with minimizing everybody else? Not to mention Kim letting us know that when she takes it, she gets the highest score. She's the best. Girl, get out of here. Anyway. So then Kim is like, I really needed this. It was so fun seeing the law student, but that's not the part I'm tripping about. She's like, it was just so nice to go and like be normal and do this and do that. Can I say this? And I will always stand 10 toes down. The Kardashians are not as famous as you believe they were. If you saw Kim walking around with sweats on and her hair in a ponytail, you probably wouldn't even know who she is, because there's filters on her Instagram pictures, but more importantly, she wears a ton of makeup, and there's filters even on the Keeping Up with the Kardashians. A lot of money goes into editing the video so that they always look flawless. Kim, you could go incognito. The biggest stars in the world go deep state incognito whenever they want and live normal lives. Kim, the fans are there because your PR team alerts them. The cameras are always around. You alert the paparazzi. But not even that. Kim, the fact that you're acting like you've gotten so big that you can't live a normal life, or you don't even realize what a normal life feels like. It's like she's trying to create this mythology for people 100 years from now to watch, when at the end of the day, 100 years from now, they will be brought up for Hague level war crimes for what they did to women, body image, self-esteem, and also how they helped the plastic surgery industry knife up 1 million people that didn't need it. But let's keep going. Is this whole episode going to be Kim bragging? Then she comes home I don't know if she's tipsy or she's faking. It doesn't matter, right? And she was like, the kids want to play soccer in the hall. And she was like, I would never let the kids keep people in the hotel up all night, but luckily we have the whole top floor and it's completely private. Girl, we get it. This is how you know that Kim, you keep talking about, oh, it's nice to see a regular life. You still acting like you down in the mud. Kim, you do not have to brag about everything. It's almost like you don't even trust us to see it and know it's a big deal. You have to explain to us what's going on. And at the end of the day, Kim, there are literally people dying right now. Literally. Kim, nobody cares. Anyway, they're saying next up they're going to the Paris Saint-Germain game. Honestly, in my opinion, Kim is seeing one of those soccer players and she uses the kids to go wherever they are. I'm just saying. Okay, so now we're at Kris and Khloe, and Khloe's delusional. Kris is like, it just makes me worry that Khloe's really, really going to regret, letting Tristan go. This is the same Tristan that's being sued for not paying child support to his oldest son's mother in over a year. That same son he begged her to go through IVF to have. The same person that was his fiance, and then he cheated on her and became Khloe's problem. Khloe then says, am I going to, is it going to sting a little that somebody I helped mold and shape and grew into a man? This is why you always single and lonely, Khloe. You cannot make someone be responsible, loving, caring. You cannot make a boy a man, just like you can't. And you somehow think you molded and shaped and grew him into what? Into this piece of ish deadbeat dad? Khloe has a savior complex, a martyr complex, and not in a good way. And I blame Kris Jenner for this. Khloe literally seems like she was raised by a narcissist. I'm not saying Kris Jenner is one, but Khloe got issues. So then Khloe starts talking sense. She was like, I get it. It might sting a little. It might hurt, but I don't think I'm going to regret it because I don't think it's a good idea for me to settle for someone that didn't feel that way about me, that didn't love me, that didn't honor me. And I was like, oh my God. Whoever Khloe's therapist is, pay them quadruple. Until I realized that mofo is living in your house, sleeping in your bed, and making watery soup like curry. Khloe, shut up. Then Khloe is like, no, because nobody was thinking about me. All the girls that messed around with them, they were thinking about themselves. Khloe, every man you've taken has been somebody else's. You cannot be serious. Your whole family's life is, I think about me. Even Bruce Jenner, everybody was stolen from somebody. But not even that, it lets you know where her mind's at. You're still mad at those women. You're still blaming them as if they had exercised some self-control and thought about you, that your family would still be together. It's still the mindset that you had when you blamed Jordan. And then she said, and also Tristan with his thing, no one ever started about me. So the person that lied, cheated, schemed, had an outside baby, tricked you into having a surrogate, all this other stuff. He gets one sentence, but you dedicate like 5 to the girls. Khloe, you are so goofy, dizzy, all around tizzy. So Khloe says, so then now in this stage of life, I'm thinking about me. That's a lie. No, you're not. She said it sucks that all the men in my life realize how great I am after they show me how terrible they are. No, Khloe, all the men in your life, well, except for maybe Lamar. He seemed like he was really into her, but he had issues, drug problems. And also, he treated his children really don't mess with him. So Lamar wasn't perfect either. But let me just say this, right? When it comes to this whole thing with Khloe and all this stuff, I do have to say that at the end of the day, Khloe, your issue is you are attracted to people that really don't like you. You are somewhere in your childhood, you were told that you were unlovable, that you were not worthy. And when people actually approach you and treat you like you're worthy, it throws you off. You think they're on the con because in your mind, your heart is saying they're lying. They can't be serious. They're trying to trick me. Why are you acting like I'm worth something? Just like that Italian stallion that tried to scoop her up. I mean, granted, it's like Khloe's cute. She is, knifed up face and everything. I mean, cute enough, right? Not her soul, but I guess, right? I mean, anyway, right? It's a knifed up face because I actually thought Khloe was cute before all that surgery, but it's not my face, not my body. She likes it. We gotta love it. Anyway, he was like, yeah, she's cute enough. She's famous. She's rich. Hey, what's up, girl? Khloe ain't trusted. Khloe only likes people that treat her like she's worthless. And the thing is, you're attracted to people that don't really like you. So no matter what you do and how much you give and how much you sacrifice, at the end of the day, they just don't like your personality. So you're like, all the men, no, Khloe, it's you are attracting these people. So Khloe's like, so why can't somebody see how great I am to begin with? And I'm like, but Khloe, they do. You don't trust it. Again, this is literally what you believe is what you attract. And again, everybody falls into bad situations. Everybody falls into someone that took advantage of them or used them or humiliated them, cheated. Like, that's human. But Khloe, the way you are sticking to Tristan and trying to build on, you haven't learned a thing in that you're saying all this stuff and this mofo is living in your house because at the end of the day, you think if you remove Essie, whatever, sexy times out of the situation, then you can guard your heart. But he is using you for an emotional booty call. He is using you as a babysitter and a doormat and a housekeeper. And at the end of the day, he's getting exactly what he wants out of the situation because he doesn't want you. Then she says, why don't you ask Tristan for some of these questions? Why don't you ask him how he would feel if I was going to? And she's like, oh, I already know the answer to that. He would be devastated. You just started saying how this man treated you bad, and now you want to gloat about he'd be devastated, and you're the only dummy that believes that. Kris Jenner's like, oh yeah, he'd be totally devastated. He doesn't care. The only thing he'd care about is that his bottom, he wouldn't have access to use you anymore. He wouldn't have access. Khloe is so dizzy, but also oddly, oddly very much like, I already know how that feels. You're so busy trying to dunk on these women like, yeah, you're not taking my man, that you don't realize, Khloe, you're the one that's it. You got the curse, Crypt Keeper. Let's keep going. So then Khloe, because she's been hostile to Kris this whole episode, she's like, no, I think he'd be devastated. And then Khloe was like, well, if he would be devastated, then why'd he do it? And Kris was like, I don't know, I think. And she's like, I mean, and then Khloe interrupts her. What was your mindset when you cheated? And Kris looks shocked, like, what? And again, this is what I mean about Tristan. Khloe will even go against her own mother instead of taking her anger out on Tristan. Everybody can catch it except for the mofo that actually hurt you. I know Kris is tired. Kris literally stopped working for a month and a half to stay at Khloe's house so Tristan couldn't creep in through the window. And you sitting here attacking me? This is after you forced him on the family? Anyway, the episode cuts with to be continued. Khloe, first of all, Khloe, you're the one that keeps pushing Tristan down everybody's throat. You're the one that keeps like, oh, Kim, hang out with Tristan. And now you're mad. But we all have a friend like Khloe. You have this trash man and you want everybody to hate him. But you want to be cool with them because at the end of the day, you don't have the backbone to stand 10 toes down. So you want everybody else to collectively punish him, but also accept him and have him be around. Y'all listen. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. This was episode 4. Next one seems like it's going to be exciting. Basically, this whole season is the rehab of Tristan winning back Khloe's heart. And I know she's mad that Tristan messed it up by not paying child support. Listen, let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.